Alright, we're going to try to do an audio track overdub again. I'm watching the beginning of the race here. Probably watched this video once already. So when I'm talking about stuff that's happening in the future, I'll probably get some things wrong because the times don't always, I don't remember exactly what I did when. Okay start. Dusty as heck. I start slowing down because I can't really see what's coming up. And you know, there's little bumps and holes in some of this grass track part that I remembered from practice, but I don't remember where. I don't want to run into them because I've seen people like right here, man, you can't move. I move over to the left and I'm way too tight. I go way too far around this. I see the stick. I'm like, oh, nope, went the wrong way. I'm on the wrong side of the ribbon. I'm not sure what to do. I just, oh, good, it opens back up. I can get in, thank goodness. I didn't want to have to run through the ribbon. I don't know, I want to say I'm in like 9th or 10th right now, which is probably the best start I've ever had. I'm not sure. I don't normally track the starts because I don't expect to do well. But it seemed to start off okay. Whatever, you know. Mostly just want to make it through this first minute or two. Sort of get my feet under me because I always have crazy nervous energy at the beginning of these races, and I just don't want to make a mistake that just ruins the race, although that's coming. If everybody will anybody that was out there yesterday, at least during this race, I don't know if they fixed it later, but there's a little branch, I want to say halfway through the lap somewhere. It's a tight right turn, and there's a low hanging branch that will just clothesline you if you're not paying attention, or you're just, you know, whatever, you're distracted in some way. I get clotheslined by that thing, and it takes me right off the bike. Not, you know, you're going 3 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour because it's a tight turn leading into it, but of course I'm, you know, not paying that much attention. I remember, I noticed it in practice and thought to myself, don't forget, clothesline branch. And then there's another low-hanging branch that you get under before that one, and I guess in my brain I thought that was the one. I've dodged the low-hanging branch, but I had only dodged the first one. The second one is the one that caught me, and you know, it didn't ruin my day, but it you know, got my blood pressure up and my, you know, adrenaline dump. Because after that I make another mistake about a minute later, trying to let a guy go by, and I'm not, you know, I've said before, if I feel like I'm holding you up, I'm going to try to get out of the way, even if you're in my class. And shortly after that, yeah, this little hole thing messed a lot of people up. And I don't know why I always went to the left there. I guess I saw the guy in front of me do it, so I just did that for the rest of the race. I thought maybe that was the approved line or the better line, but I'm kind of wishing I'd have done the one to the right because it looks like it was a straighter shot or an easier shot, I guess, instead of cutting way back to the left again. I don't know, but that's what kind of stuff happens to me. I watch one person in front of me do a thing, and that's just what I think the rest of the race. Well, they did that, I must have to do that, you know. I've actually been to Powell before, but it was for the sprint last summer, which only used, yeah, that's the, oh, there's one of those low-hanging branches. That must be the one I was worried about. Okay, we're good. Anyway, I had been to Powell for the sprint last summer, which was the first ride on this bike, but it still had the motocross suspension that just beat me to death. But, so I'd seen a few of these sections before, but I think we're running a lot of it backwards from that's what it feels like to me. Because I remember I recognized some parts, but they looked flipped. So I'm thinking they were some of this stuff was being run in reverse from what it was during the sprint, which, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's cool to be able to run the course back and forth, you know, both directions, but I kind of thought I was going to have a little bit of a heads up on this course because I'd done that sprint, and then of course none of it looked familiar enough to be able to just go off memory. So it wasn't as much of a help as I thought it might be. That's fine. You know, all this stuff, for me, it's a constant exercise in trying to learn to look ahead and read the course instead of just memorizing the course. I mean, I know I could go faster if I memorized it, but I want to be able to go quick. You know, and again, I need to preface all this. When I say quick, I don't mean quick. I mean me quick. You know, I have no illusions about being a fast guy. I'll be 57 this week, so yeah. And I've only been doing this a couple years now, and only racing barely a year, you know, on the calendar. But I've done about 5 races. But you know, I've said it before. I do it because I get chances to ride places I would never normally get to ride. This is just a fast trail ride for me, I guess. That's how I look at a lot of these races. So sometimes I get that's in my head when I'm racing, I guess. So maybe that might explain why sometimes I don't look like I should be charging like a lot of people would. I'm just sort of like, oh, all right, you know, having fun. Maybe I don't, you know, I don't have the sense of urgency sometimes, and you know, I know that probably frustrates people that might get stuck behind me. Like right now, there's a guy behind me that's, I can't really tell how close he is because it's a 4-stroke, and every time I think they're right on my butt, and I'll pull over, you know, they're 100 yards behind me or 50 yards behind me or something. You know, I don't know how to judge them. I don't, you know, ride with a lot of 4-stroke guys, so it's hard for me to judge if you're real close or not. But you know, I know he had to be in my class because this is the beginning of the race, so I know there's no imperative that I have to get out of the way, because I really don't. I mean, we're racing, right? But there are people I'll let by. You'll see. I mean, I think I've already done it once. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure if I have yet. There's a point here where I do pull over for people in my class, and then like on this one, I go on the wide line. I figure, well, if he's going to go around, he'll go around the other side, but he didn't. So he either wasn't that close, or maybe he didn't want to pass. I mean, I did that at the Spokes race. I followed a guy for as long as I could because it was easier to follow than to lead, so to speak. You know, when you can't see somebody in front of you, sometimes it's harder to read the trail, which, I mean, that's my struggle. It's hard for me to read the trail. I wind up focusing, you know, 20 feet at in front of my bike instead of looking ahead further to see what's coming. And that's definitely makes you go slower because everything is a surprise. Everything is coming at you fast when you're looking 20, 30 feet in front of your bike instead of 100 or more. And, you know, I know it. I say it to myself. At the beginning of the race, I'm saying it to myself. You know, I don't say it out loud, but I'm trying to say it. You know, my little mental check at the line. Try to look more ahead. Try to stand more, even though I only stand in the longer whoopy parts of this trail or race or whatever. And maybe a little bit on the grass track portions, although a lot of times I was using those to just catch my breath, so you'll see me slow down a fair bit on the grassy stuff, but also because I'm not good at that. A buddy of mine that's, you know, I've met here racing, he'll post a video, I'm sure, we always do. He was telling me, yeah, I can tell you're just not quick on the grass track open stuff, and I'm like, yep, because it feels the most risky. This doesn't feel that risky to me, going through these trees and things. I'm not going that fast. Here it is, right under the neck, all over. I mean, it was fine, and you know, I hurt myself, but there's a guy right behind me, kind of revving at me, but there's nowhere for him to go. I'm just stuck. Get the bike started. I hate that damn branch. Every lap was a struggle going under that thing. Yeah, that sucked. You can hear me say it probably. Now I'm all flustered. You know, for the next several minutes here, I just flop around angrily, and, you know, adrenaline spike messes with your, you know, riding. And it's one of those things I probably, you know, need to work on calming myself down easier. Excuse me while I drink coffee. I'm doing this over breakfast again. But yeah, you know, of course, the very next section had to be all this really tight stuff that's hard to read. And like right now, I can hear the pop of this guy's muffler, so I know he's close. It's not just the thud. So I tried to get over, then I went a little too far, and now I'm stuck here where I can't get back to the trail. And I'm like an idiot. Instead of just shut the bike off and back up, I'm sitting here trying to kick it down into neutral. Like, I have a starter button. Why am I worried about keeping the bike running? I don't know. These are the kinds of dumb things I still just, I don't know. I think I still have the mentality that I'm on my Cowie, you know, the kickstart Cowie, which I never want to let it die because it's a pain in the butt to get it kick-started sometimes, especially once it gets a little hot, or I've been ho-dunking through the woods like this. It'll just load up enough to be overly rich trying to kick it, and it just won't start. So even though I haven't been riding that bike on these races for 4 races or so now, because it was my only bike for years, I still have that mentality that I just don't want the bike to stop. And I got to get out of that. I have a button, you know, just stop the bike, pull the clutch in, back it up, get moving, instead of fiddling with it for at least 30 seconds there, 35 seconds if not more, which, yeah, you know, for a slow guy like me, that's not necessarily going to win, you know, make or break my race, but it might keep from the next guy behind me catching, you know, getting close enough to where I have to worry about him now. Like, now I hear another 4-stroke back there. He's not crazy close, at least not that I can tell. And, you know, those downhills, I don't know, I gotta get over a lot of fears. I have fears of downhills. So I was just watching Birdsburg Rodeo Hard Enduro the other day, and everybody that's watching this probably knows who Cody Webb is, one of our, you know, U.S. guys that was over there. And a few minutes into the race, he's going down a downhill right behind some dude, and that guy just, you know, he did what my worst fear is. He locked up the nose, went over the bars, and just tumbled down the rest of this super big hill, and it looked just awful. And of course Cody's like, man, I think that guy just died, or something like that. It's like, I hope he didn't. I don't think he did. I didn't see any news about it, but it looked brutal. And I know these aren't those kinds of downhills, but I'm an old man, so that kind of stuff spooks me. So I podunk down all these downhills. After watching that, it's got me thinking, like, wow, yeah, I wish I had somewhere to practice this kind of elevation. Everything near me out here is just flat. It's flat as a pancake. So I get a little bit of practice in tighter woods, but I haven't done in any kind of elevation. And I know, you know, people are like, these are 10 and 12 foot little humps. That's not elevation. You're right. To guys that ride it all the time, it's nothing. But if you only ever see it once a month when you come to one of these races, and I've never been to this property other than, like I said, that sprint, you know, it's all new. Every time it's new. And one lap of practice isn't enough for me to, you know, get that much practice. And yeah, I could have done another lap, but in practice, but then I get, you know, the balance for me is wearing myself out for the race. By the time I get to the 3rd lap here, you'll hear me like just kind of coaxing myself into just make it, you know, just gotta last one more lap. And I believe they shortened the race yesterday, which is good. I mean, it saved me. You'll hear me when I cross the line, and, you know, at the 3rd lap, I tried to yell to the girls at the time scoring table, thank God it's over. And I think they laughed. I don't know. I hope they did. I hope they didn't think I was being mean. I was expressing joy that the checkered flag was there. I'd never been so happy to see that checkered flag, because this race for me, it wasn't about energy. I ate well enough, and right before the race, I didn't run out of energy, but the heat, I don't even know what the temperature was. I'm gonna guess lower mid-90s, maybe like 93 or 4. I don't know. Somebody probably knows better, I'm sure. Maybe the humidity was high. Something about it. I just couldn't breathe. I wasn't getting enough oxygen, and that's really what was doing me in by the last lap. I was just panting and breathing through my mouth, which I've said in videos past. Man, don't try not to mouth breathe, but I wasn't able to draw enough air, through my nose. So there I go again, mouth breathing, and swallow a lot of dirt. Kind of pay for it every time I take a swig of a drink. I just swallow a bunch of dirt, but whatever. It's a universal problem. I liked this little tree section because it was shaded and it was open enough that even a slow guy like me could get up a little bit of speed. Ruts. Which rut? There's two. I definitely need whoop practice. Oh, yay, so bad. I know people say, well, don't ride through the whoops. Try maybe pick the edge. I do that I think the next lap. I try it, and then the ground feels even worse. I don't know, maybe because of the vegetation you're riding through, and I trusted it even less than going through the middle of the whoops. And then by the third lap, what I was telling myself is, well, you really need to learn how to ride whoops anyway, so just drive through the middle if you can. Some of that siltiness in that dirt starts pushing me around. It just makes the front end swim around. So if it looks like I'm trying to avoid them, I'm not. That's just the way the bike was going. I just kind of let it do what it wanted to do. Tried to remember that's what I've been told before. So don't death grip the bars and steer the bike, with your will so much. It's just let it figure out where it wants to go, and then try to control it with your legs, which I'm trying. I tell myself those things while I'm riding. Am I doing it every time? No. Ooh, overbroke. I was shifting up into fourth on those grass things just so I could try to torque it around, because the bike, I've said it before, but the suspension feels like it works better when I'm in a tall gear. I don't know if that's really a thing or just mental, because the motor's not racing as hard, but to me it feels like it soaks up better if I've got a tall gear going. Like most of the trails I'm in third, and then when I got out to the grassy bits, it was immediately clicking to fourth. So the motor's really not, turning too hard. Like here, I come out third, I shift down a second for a second, then I'm almost immediately back up to fourth by the time I get to this corner, I think, or maybe the next one. You can hear it bog. I'm just feathering the clutch, trying to get out of it, and then this, I don't know how. My normal problem. Coming in the corner way too tight to the corner, and then miss it wide, and I don't know why I'm doing that, and I know better. I've raced go-karts and cars and stuff most of my life, and for some reason I completely forget how to take a good race line when I'm on a dirt bike. It's the same principle. Widen the corner as much as you can, and you'll be able to carry speed.
For sure.
And avoid, crazy sharp turns and coming to a stop. And just to correct the thing, when I said I've been racing that most of my adult life, after the age of 30. I didn't do that stuff when I was a kid. so I don't want anybody to think I'm been doing this since I was 5 or anything. I didn't get my first dirt bike until I was in my 20s. And at that time, I only rode for a few years until all of my riding buddies sold theirs, and moved on. So once you have nobody that you normally ride with that wants to go riding anymore, I stopped riding. And this, see, once again, way too tight to the corner, blew through it. That poor girl probably wondered, what the hell am I doing? I yelled to her, sorry, I hope she heard me. I wasn't trying to be a jerk there and, buzz her. But yeah, you can see me. I'm aiming right at the tree at the corner, like every time. I don't know why I do that. I know, like I said, I know better, but I can't make myself not do it. You watch all of my, not that I'm telling people to go watch all my videos, but if you have, you've seen me do that a lot. So right now I feel like I'm relatively alone. I mean, I hear a 4-stroke back there, but he's not super close until now. Now, once I slow down for all this stuff, I can hear him a little bit louder, but like I said, it's hard to tell with those guys. So, this is that hole. I watched people wreck on that in the practice, and it just got in my head to fear it. That was the only thing on this course that I actually felt like was dangerous to, other than the clotheslining branch. That did get me, but that branch thing is not as big of a risk as that hole. When I have people endoed on that hole, their front wheel dropped in and over the bars or off the side or whatever. Like, ooh, I don't want to do that. Try to remember that thing's coming up. And luckily I didn't. Here's a low bridge, bonk, right on the head. I put my helmet on the freaking gas tank and still clipped the top of my head on that branch. And that's not even the clothesline branch. I'm betting it. Neither one of those survived the pro race yesterday. Either the pros would have, broke it off or made a go around. Because I can't imagine those guys wanting to come to a stop and duck under that thing, or whatever approximates a stop for a pro. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to slow down that much. Excuse me. Sand kind of got my front wheel. And again, let's see. Tight stuff, I don't hear him as close, and then he catches up after the thing opens up for a second. So, like I said, it felt like a yo-yo thing all day. But I do, I get out of the way for him here in a little bit. I don't remember exactly where, but I'm like, alright, you've been back there long enough. You don't look like you want to pass me. If you do, you're not showing me a wheel. And that's cool. Maybe he's being nice, I'm sure. He's like, we're in open D, and he probably thinks the same. I'm hoping. I mean, I guess, this is not for money. We're obviously not at the head of the class here. We're all at the back. I think I'm probably in 10th or 11th place right now. I don't remember. There was a point early on I was in 9th after the start, but that was right before I clotheslined myself, and some folks got by. And then that second deal where I tried to get out of the one guy's way, and then like 3 people got by because I stymied myself off out of the, where I couldn't get back to the trail. Back up. So I'm not, you know, not saying I would have finished top 10, because these guys were definitely quicker. Tell by how fast they disappeared once they get around you. And it seemed like I was relatively holding this guy, you know, holding him off. I don't want to say hold him off, but, you know, it felt like we were relatively equal speeds. But I'm getting tired. You can hear me panting there. Whew. I'm conscious about that too when I'm recording like this on the, you know, like video. I try not to just heavy breathe into the mic because that gets irritating to listen to, but occasionally you'll hear a big old exhale. Here we go again on this thing. It's like I'm going to go left. If you want to go up the inside, go ahead, but he didn't. Sounds like he just waited, which is fine. So maybe he wanted to follow, like me at that other race. I didn't want to pass. I wish this place was open like to the public, because this would be fun to come out and just practice on. It's sandier and rootier and rougher than like Spokes, which is, I love, you know, now that I've been to Spokes a couple of times, I really dig it, but a whole lot of that trail is so nicely polished. It's you don't get the feel for the rooty, rough stuff like this. And having now ridden on this, I need more suspension tuning because I was feeling a lot of these roots, and I thought I had tuned it all out, or not all, but a lot of it after my second trip to Spokes. I thought, man, this is it. It's finally feels good. I don't feel that trail trash, but yeah, it was just because I think Spokes is so smooth. Here we go again. I get stuck, or yeah, freaking.
Ah, damn it.
Sorry. Just caught. I don't know what I caught on that thing. Either the handlebar or still clipped my head or something, but it, you know, knocked me off balance, and I didn't tip over, but I, you know, had to drop a foot on the ground and stop for a second and gather it. Which, you know, I know I'm not the only one that had that problem. I had people in the pits afterwards that were talking about it. It was universal that everybody hated that damn clothesline bastard. Like I said, I'll be surprised if it's there today, Sunday. I'm recording this Sunday morning. I would have a feeling that after the pro race yesterday, you know, somebody would have either done something about it or rerouted or cut it or whatever, because that thing's just that's. I get having challenges, but that's beyond just being a challenge. That's not just tight bar banging, you know. We're about to come into a couple of really tight little sections here. This is, yeah, you know, this is not the same thing. That's fine. I expect that stuff. This kind of stuff. This is a challenge. But you got something that, if you don't remember to duck enough, you're going to get clotheslined. I mean, that's not good. I'm not trying to be overly critical, you know. I get that there's things. This is nature. Stuff's going to happen. Maybe that branch hadn't been that low the day they cut the course in, and maybe it only happened to this you know, the morning of this race. Somebody clipped it and pulled it down a little bit, which is probably what happened. The local riding spot I ride at, that happens all the time. Somebody will go through, clip something, suddenly something that was just kind of a, you know, not even a face slapper, higher, you know, a foot or two over your head. Now it's neck high, because they were maybe standing almost straight up and they clipped it with their helmet, and that dislodged, you know, whatever might have been suspending it higher in the air. You know, who knows? I see it all the time. I'm just saying that thing needs to go. I mean, there wasn't even any red tape on it. Like, I've seen that before. There are other races, when they know there's a low-hanging branch, there'll be X's before the corner and a bunch of red tape wrapped around it, because they know it's there. That's what makes me think it must have happened sometime in the morning there before our race. Like, it was, I feel like they would have marked it. If that's a quote-unquote feature that everybody sort of knows about, I feel like that would have been marked. So my thinking right now is that it was something that just happened last minute. Just going by how many things I've seen that are hazards that are well marked, I don't think they'd have just left that unmarked if they all knew about it. This guy pulled over and he didn't need to. I wasn't really gaining on him that much, but thank you, buddy. I say that I kind of wish I could have followed you for a little bit, because I felt like I was getting a little bit of a tow by being able to watch you. I could tell where the corners were coming, and now I'm leading again, or quote unquote leading, I guess. You know, in my little local group here. And I didn't even see what class he was in. Like I said, I don't think he had to pull over. Maybe he just doesn't like people following. I get it. I know some folks like that. They're like, I don't like it when anybody's even remotely close, so I'll just pull over. Almost run over that branch, go really wide, almost hit this log. go kind of wobbling around in the middle of the corner. Oh man. Yeah, like I said, my buddy told me, yeah, you look terrible on this grass track stuff. You don't know how, you need to work on that. There we go. Another, pinch the corner in tight and then go wide. Awful. I liked this little part. This felt kind of neat. There's a split. I always went left. I don't know if it was any better going the other way, but try to just deal with the whoops. Try to learn to ride those, because they're everywhere. I am terrible. And then my little shaded wood part. Awesome. Almost overshoot the corner once again. I don't know. I was talking with another guy, and we were talking about depth perception. Maybe I have a problem with depth perception. I've never felt like I have, but it does sort of seem like I just never see corners coming, or I don't appreciate how close they are. Got a few little hops going there, and then I just start rolling through them again. Boom, boom. I did stand through those. There's a little jump down there. Stay in third and just bog. I'm trying to catch my breath on these grass tracky bits, shake out hands and stuff, but I feel the pressure. Someone's behind me. I'm like, I need to learn to just trust the suspension and the tires more, I think. That's another thing with this high-speed stuff. I don't have confidence leaning the bike on those side knobbies as much, for any kind of speed in these corners. So I wish I had a place like this to practice. I feel like if I could just spend a few days doing this kind of stuff, I would maybe crack the code. Like when I see a little bit of a rut or a berm, I can hit that, but I'm not fast, but I know what to aim for. So here I think I move out of the way and I almost run off. Wait, I hit that log. I was like, go on, dude. I wave him and he finally goes. I'm sure he's relieved. I hope that's what you wanted. I mean, he gets away pretty quick here, so I'm guessing that's what he wanted. He just was too polite to, holler at me, which is, I mean, it's fine. I know they say really, if it's in your class, you're not supposed to be yelling at people to get out of the way, because technically you're racing them for position, and it's not fair to ask to be let past, which that's fine. It's different if you're in a different class, obviously, right? The whole different class, and then you get out of the way. Although there's some B guys that come around here in a minute. I think this is the third lap. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it has to be. And I never heard any of them yell different class. I just got a couple of rev bombs, but I figured out that they were the B guys because you can hear them coming.
I made that corner today.
It isn't like somebody slowly creeping up on you. It's like there's nothing behind you. Suddenly they're on your fender. So my steel trap mind was able to deduce they got to be in a different class. So I don't even, I don't necessarily need them to yell it, but I kind of wish they would, just so I know. But I know not everybody's going to do that. And there's one guy coming up here in a minute, where the first guy does the rev, and I pull over and let him go, and just as I'm about to lean back into the trail, the guy right behind him goes, one more, which was good, because as soon as I heard him, I was like, oh, and jumped back out of the way. Thank you for saying something, because otherwise I would have pulled right in front of you, and, we'd have had a bad afternoon, because they were definitely going a good bit quicker than I was at that point. Halfway through this third lap, I'm just... like I said, the heat is just hurting me more than anything. I really didn't feel terribly thirsty. I had plenty of drink. It wasn't a... There we go. How close can I get to that tree? I don't know why I do that. But, I wasn't seeing spots or anything like I have in races where I'm, didn't eat enough before the race. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, I think it was just the heat, sweating. Start not really on the verge, not heat exhaustion, which I know some folks were suffering from. Guy in the pit next to me, Mark, and his son. I think his son had a little bit of heat exhaustion. And by the end of the day, they were telling me, he was saying he's okay, which is good. But it really, tore him up for a while. So it wasn't that. I wasn't at that point. I was still sweating. Yeah, that freaking top hole sort of caught me and reminded me, don't forget. There's a hole at the bottom you don't want to drop into. And then I was saying to myself, God willing, that'll be the last time I have to go through that. Because I felt like, when you I don't know if you can see it on the video, when I came through, the clock said 19 minutes, and I hadn't been doing the math, but what I figured is they must have shortened the race, because usually there's like, they give you a differential, right? Since our Open D starts almost last, like 4 or 5 classes start ahead of us, we usually get an extra few minutes to get that full, chance at the extra lap. But like I said, I was never more happy than to see that checker. Oh yeah, right there, did it again. Ow. Just tried to walk under it and still clipped the top of my head. I don't know how I could have gotten lower. I mean, maybe if I put my head on the seat, just Superman in front of the bike, but yeah, I'm complaining about it right there. But yeah, I don't know how. Other than laying prone on the bike, I just couldn't get a lot lower. And that thing, it hit, kind of hits the top of your head at that point, which sort of puts a tweak, back into your neck. I mean, not bad. I felt it. Just saying these things. There was nothing. It wasn't serious. I'm making the comments because it happened, not because I feel like it was any kind of a real issue. A lot of the reason for me making these videos is, like I said in the previous video, hey man, if there's new people like me and you just want to know what you're up against, I'm just trying to describe everything. Get a good idea of what to expect. If you like riding dirt bikes and trails like this, yeah, so I don't know if that girl was trying to give me a symbol. They might have just been talking, but she looked like she was doing a hand waving thing, like whatever. I don't know. First thing came to mind was it's hot, and that's again, a lot of that is even that's my doing. I wear every kind of pad I can possibly wear. I've got elbow sleeves that are like these little foamy neoprene things. Then I wear Alpine Star's, it's called a Bionic Action Jacket, which has hard plastic protectors on your elbow. Here's the fast guys. They're starting to come through. I pull over. There's a B guy. I don't know what that might have been double decade. I'm not sure. First guy had yellow and black. I know that's B. So now I'm saying to myself, man, the fast guys are coming through. I really do hope this is the last lap, because I don't want to do a whole other lap of fast guys buzzing around, because I don't like having to pull over that often. I mean, I'll do it, but it breaks your momentum, and it introduces the, again, the chance of a bad interaction, right? If, I pull over for what I think is one guy, and there's 2 or 3 guys behind him, and I don't time it right, or nobody says anything, I don't want to risk clipping somebody. But I've done the deal where you completely stop and turn sideways on the bike and look back, and that just wears me out. I'm sorry. Those first couple of races I did, I was doing that kind of stuff. By the, halfway through that second or third lap, when they're catching you, it's just, it wears you out mentally and physically. It's stopping and starting. It doesn't sound like it would, but it does. So I sort of just try to hear them, move over. I see a guy pass, I start to move back. I don't just right turn back into the lane, but I do lean in pretty quick. And if someone's behind that guy, the first guy, I want to see it here. I tried to go back and forth across these things to see if I could mitigate the humps, but it didn't feel like it did any better. So there's no secret, I guess. There's no secret sauce to figuring out whoops, other than either if you want to ride all the way off to the edge in the grass and risk whatever might be in the grass waiting for you, that's fine. But it's like right here, move over, and that guy gets right by, no problem. You know, I only had to stop for a second or two. I don't even think I came to a complete stop. I just was kind of slowly rolling, maybe, whatever. And now I hear another guy. He gives me a quick couple of revs. I move over, and he said, "Thank you, thank you," and I appreciate the thank you. You don't owe it to me, but it is nice. I try to say it. I think one guy lets me pass late in the race here, and I say thank you. He didn't. Oh, here, I almost looped it. I heard a guy behind me, I think, or maybe it was the guy in front. I can't remember when it happens, but it must not be anybody behind me because I don't hear anybody revving. So maybe I heard a guy on a nearby trail, but I thought maybe somebody was behind me, and it caught me off guard. And I'm like, damn it, I'm in the way. Lost concentration, a little bit of whiskey throttle. Thankfully, I keep a finger on the clutch, and I snipped it off, but now I'm all adrenaline dumped and just podunking. This lap is almost, it's a minute and a half slower at least than my second lap. And I don't fall down that I remember. Maybe I do, but I think there's one pullover where I pull over to just, you know, rest, and then this stupid thing again. God, I hate that thing. I'd love to see somebody just clean get through that without any kind of stopping and duck paddling. I know the good guys are probably just zip right under it, but I don't know how. And I'm not a big tall guy. I mean, I'm 5'10". And I was getting as low as I can. Like my chin bar is on the gas tank going under that thing, and it still touches the top of my helmet. Both of those low bridges did, you know. And this is the section where on the first lap I messed up and went to that right here, that split. I only remembered it barely on the third lap, and I didn't have the problem on the second lap, but I just got lucky and didn't do it. Now here there was a get off. I want to say that was Mark and his boy, I'm pretty sure, and or that was maybe, did he have a wreck? I don't know. I think he had a wreck, and then the heat exhaustion really sort of took its toll at the same time. It all piled up on him. So, like I said, he's okay, I'm glad. And he was leading the class, I think, at the time, from what Mark told me. Which is a shame that, you know, that had to happen, or didn't have to happen, but that happened. And I clipped my head on something there, but no big deal. But it got me off slowing down for that. I went up better the prior two laps. Yeah, you can tell how much slower I'm going. Just, you know, and then I killed the bike, but on the downhill, just drop the clutch and let it start the bike. Yeah, definitely feeling it now. You know, seeing people pulled over makes me think, you know, be careful. But by this point, yeah, I was just so hot. And I think I missed the timeout by a minute or so, minute and a half, maybe two. It was not that. I mean, it was relatively close. If this lap had been, you know, what the prior two were, I would have been coming through, looking at doing a fourth lap, and somewhere up here I start talking about it to myself, like I'm hoping I don't have to do a fourth lap. know that's the wrong attitude. You know, you're supposed to want to do as many as you can. But by this point, I was over, you know, ready to go sit down. And I didn't slow down on purpose. I mean, I'm going about as fast as I think I can go. There's a guy behind me. Get out of his way. And then, oh, one more. So thank you. I'm glad you said that because I would have leaned right back into you. So, like, and that was the my right hand. My brake finger was starting to cramp up, and my clutch finger. So I think in a minute here I pull over. I'm getting off the net. I'm probably fishing for water right now. Usually when I slow down and start weaving, it's because I'm looking down. Yeah, okay. I think I pull over here. Yeah, I pull over right here. Sit there for a minute or so. I don't know exactly how long. The recording ran out, and it switched to the next session. So yeah, that takes about 10 seconds or more at least, I think. And then I'm sitting here, just shaking. You can see the bike moving because I'm shaking my hands. And the bars aren't crooked. The number plate is. Yes, people have said that before. Like, why are your bars so crooked? No, it's the number plate sticks up on the right-hand side. So anyway, shook my hands out, try to get the cramps out of those fingers. Because I'm thinking, you know, hell, if I come through and I still got to do another lap, I need to do something about these cramps. So I sat there and stretched them against the bars for a minute. And that's probably what did it. If I hadn't stopped to do that, I might have come through and seen that yellow flag, and then would have had to make a choice. You know, do I want to try another lap? I think I could have rolled around and done a lap, but it would have been exceedingly slow. I mean, I'm already not fast, but I'm just saying, even by my standards, it would have been so low. These guys, everybody starts coming around because these are the B and C, the C and B guys. Is that yellow dot? Yeah. And there's another guy right after him, and then another guy in a second here. Yeah. Where is he? There's another guy that's coming up in a minute. I don't remember. Barely hear him back there. I'm telling myself I need to get off this fucking track. I'm in the way. All these fast guys coming around now wanting to get out of that woods, so at least I can have room to get out of the way. I don't want to be a factor in a faster classes race. Like, if it wasn't for that lapper, blah blah blah, I would have passed that guy, whatever, or caught that guy. I don't want to. I'm trying not to be that guy. But, you know. When it's a tight little single track section, hard to get out of the way. I can't just disappear. And I've said it in other videos, I'm not going to just risk it and run right on the edge of the trail next to a bunch of trees and clip my bar and wreck both of us, or even just myself. I'm not going to get hurt from this. I'm trying to just get out of the way. So I'm going to find a spot that I feel this. I'm like, oh, almost. What am I doing? I don't know. I thought that tree looked friendly and maybe it needed a hug. No, I was just maybe fishing for water. I don't remember. So much of this becomes a blur by this third lap. Now I hear another guy trying to point him by. And I actually know that guy now. He was pitted a couple of trucks away. His name's Colt. Really good dude. We had a good talk. He finished second in his class. So one of those guys that got around me a minute ago was probably the guy he was trying to catch. So thankfully I wasn't in his way. to slow him down enough to make him not catch anybody. That's what I was talking about a minute ago. I don't want to be in anybody's way that I can help. Can I see the flag? Not yet. I just see trucks and vans. Oh my god. Is it going to be the terror of the yellow flag still? Still can't see it. I'm looking. No, don't know. I'm just podunking along. Maybe they're just now putting it out. Oh, I thought I caught a glimpse. I'm not sure. I think now I see it. I'm like, oh.
Thank God it's over.
Thank God it's over.
Hey, sir. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
The heat.
That was tough.
Oh my. Phew. Alrighty. Well, that was it. I mean, don't expect terribly many people will have stuck all the way to the end, but if you did, thanks.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Here I am trying to just shut the bike off. What am I doing? Trying to get it into neutral before I shut it off like it matters.
When I went through there, I told him,
just telling me,
thank God
aren't you glad
over.
there's not one more lap?
Yeah.
Yeah. And those fast guys did like 4 laps. Phew, or more. I don't even know. All right, anyway, that was it. Bye.